What up, Jittery? My dumbass thought I was streaming for like maybe 15 minutes ago. And I thought I was streaming. It turned out, nope, I hadn't even pressed the goddamn button. And I was too involved with the drawing to look at my phone. That is embarrassing. So for 15 minutes, I sat there and ranted to myself about nothing. And I can't remember what I was talking about. Thankfully, I realized before I got too heavy with the lines. So we are here drawing Margaret. What up, Slip Tool Kitty? What up, Rayman? You're up early. What up, Mr. Bird? Thought the title said Magnet. Nope, Margaret. Margaret. I really hope I spelled her name right, because sometimes my autocorrect likes to turn her name into Magnet. So, some things about Margaret. She is also a Taoist. However, she does not have a loyalty weapon like Hati does. She's just a regular old Taoist kitty. Now, stray cats, those kind of beastmen, they were literally bred by humans. They were manufactured by humans to be weapons. They were meant to be soldiers that could be disposable. So yeah, if it sounds fucked up, that's because it is. Just think if America had a breeding program for people who were only meant to be soldiers, like they imagined an inferior race. So basically, imagine if the Civil War went like this. Imagine if the Civil War, but instead of Southerners using their own men, they made slaves breed with each other and then raise those babies to be soldiers for the singular purpose of dying. That's basically what it would be like. That's a really morbid example, and it actually nearly happened. But yeah, if that's fucked up, that's exactly what happens in Agony. But you see, the thing is cat beastmen are like regular cats. They don't really show interest in anything, and also there began to become too many of them. So during some training exercises and stuff like that, some of them would slip and, get away. And then suddenly there started to be more in the city, and then more, and then more, and then more, and they kind of became a problem. So the project was shut down. All the soldiers that remained of them were executed on the spot, and basically a bounty was set up for them to be executed. However, they got rid of a lot of problems. While they would eventually inhabit the slums, Cat Beastmen got rid of so many problems that a lot of people didn't bother ratting them out, literally. Because they were so useful to the city's slums environment, and most of the city's environment as a whole, they had quite the reputation. Not only were they people who got rid of rats, yes, they still had some of that cat instinct in them, they also were free work, as they would do anything to get money, so that way they could, live. Not to mention be protected. Because if you worked in the technology region, you were guaranteed safety from things like being executed on the spot by the local government. Because you were seen as a work asset. And if they were to terminate you as a work asset, that would be pricey money. Pricey money that they do not want to give to some small company. Because some people at the council thought, hey, it would be really wrong to just start executing people as workers. You know, because sometimes a big man would commit a crime, and instead of killing him, he could be put to work. Very interesting laws, trust me. And the person who created that law would eventually be killed by the other council members because they wanted his law to go away. Very interesting government process. But Margaret was one of those few that never really found a job. She wasn't very capable at most things, but she had a lot of street smarts. Two of my markers can't draw. That really sucks. What up, Giovanni Anya? What up? I can't read that name. It's not English. But basically, Margaret grew up on the streets by herself, lonesome, no family, nothing really much at all. She was just a tiny little kitten. She grew up in the slums. However, as the process of AI, of robotic intelligence was moved out because, you know, human workers and stuff like that and orc workers and all stuff were more valued, robots were tossed out and used either as scrap metal or as robotic soldiers, as they would do much better than actual soldiers with thoughts and feelings. Show us Luna. I will show you Luna later. I'd like to finish my spiel about shitty governments in agony. But basically, eventually, Margaret would happen upon a robot that was a waiter that was kind of just tossed out because he wasn't really built for anything but being a waiter. Powering him on by accident, he took quite of a liking to her. And she basically those two kind of looked after each other. Basically, she would see him as a big bro, and he would see her as the only purpose that he has literally in his life. She would try to scoundrel on parts for him, and he would find their work situation and stuff like that, basically. Eventually, she would meet Balder and all that stuff in the gang, and her and Balder would hit it off. Balder being my first ever created character, and one of my main characters of Agony, but these two would eventually hit it off. Eventually, the robot that Margaret had as a older brother basically would die, and it would deeply affect her. But he did die saving her, as Margaret was basically his only life's purpose at that point, as he didn't really have a purpose. Eventually, her and Balder would have a child named Zoe. Zoe would take much after her mother's dressing style. And Margaret would prove her uses. She had so much street smarts that she knew about ways that not even people like Brock, which are another character later that she heavily works with, not even they knew about passages in certain parts of the city. She did. She had the street smarts. She also knew about big gang figures and all that stuff, being somebody who grew up in the slums. Luna, Hati's daughter, would also take after Margaret's thing, which is probably why Hati does not like Margaret. And that's one big thing. These two are kind of rivals to each other, Hati and Margaret. They do not like each other all that much. However, Margaret doesn't really seem to care. Is she a car? What? My bestie's name is Luna? That's cute. I used to know a girl named Luna in school. She was kind of mean. She was really mean to me and stuff like that. She did not like autistic kids. And I was extremely autistic in school, let me tell you. I literally got diagnosed with autism in school about 3rd grade. My parents didn't really care about anything. I was basically left to rot while they destroyed themselves with their own path choices. Eventually, my dad got together and picked himself up out of his depression-driven drinking, and my mom never got better. Anyway, Margaret, though, would eventually begin to go through a lot of stressful stuff. Her daughter nearly dying, her nearly dying, Balder nearly dying. She would eventually then begin to put on a lot of weight, basically becoming your average house cat. Don't lie. Y'all know your cats are really fat. You just overfeed them. Balder. You can actually find Balder on my channel. I made him back in 2025, his most current design. He's my first character I ever created, though, back 15 years ago. So it took 15 years to get him a design I liked. Anyway, eventually, yeah, this cat would put on a lot of weight, so much so that she would probably die. And eventually, in the story, Margaret does get old. She is not an immortal. She's not a demigod or anything like that. She is just a mortal at the end of the day. And eventually, down the line, Margaret does get old. And for cat beastmen, their life expectancies aren't all that long compared to most things like humans like that. And eventually, she would pass away. Zoe, on the other hand, being half demigod, or being a demigod due to Balder, would go on to live a very, very, very long life. And so basically that's just the story of most cat beastmen and Margaret as a whole. I'm not going to get into all the details because it spoils the story, but basically that is Margaret's story in a nutshell. If anyone has any questions about the government and the questionable things the government in Agony does, go ahead and ask them. Because if you think making a whole breed of soldiers for their only purpose to die and being like, hey, your purpose is to fight for us and die, would you really think that soldier would continue to listen to you? Maybe not. Because they forgot to move that pesky thing called free will away from them. And if you don't like this drawing, I don't know why you're still here instead of just going on with your day, you know. There's nothing keeping you here if you don't like it. I would just suggest keeping your rude comments to yourself. I hate Trump. Hey, can we not talk about politics? I would request that we do not talk about politics in my chat. This is an OC. Yes. Agony doesn't really have a lot of rules of anatomy. If you saw some of the male characters, you'd be like, dude. Because Agony is kind of like a cartoon I'm creating. And I feel like I'm more limited if everyone has to have the exact same body structure. Has to. Because regular life is boring. That's why you play video games. Speaking of video games, later I plan to do Final Fantasy III. Took me a while to find the chords and all that stuff for my NES, my Super NES, but we are going to be playing Final Fantasy III later. But I really hope some of you will enjoy that. I'm gonna ask how tall is she and how much does she weigh? I'm not very good at giving exact amounts of heights, as some of these characters I haven't not scaled properly to other things like the environment. But I would like to say Margaret is probably at a decent 5 foot like 11 or something like that. Cat Beastmen were literally specially bred to be soldiers, so would it be understandable that she would be probably a lot taller than an average human? Cat Beastmen were literally supplied in so much supplement or all that stuff, you know, to not feel pain and stuff like that. They were literally bred to be soldiers after all. Maybe I should not have done a character that's literally mostly gray in color. This was a bad idea. I'm too deep now into it to stop. I will not be doing another character that's mostly gray in color. And if I do, I will not be shading them all like this. This was a very bad idea that I should not have done. Because her hair is also an even darker gray. I'm not going to be shading the hair. That'll literally make this like... You won't be able to see it hardly. How old is she? Margaret is 20 at the time of this doodle, in particular. Margaret does grow to be pretty old for a cat beastman. But at this point in time, she is 20. Margaret will live to be about, I would say, 60 years old, which is relatively old for a cat beastman, before finally passing away of old age. She is one of the only characters in Agony that actually manages to live their full life and not die a horrific death. I like your drawing. Thank you. Hey, my stream is not made for kids, by the way. My stream is made for adults only. I've marked it as for adults only, so if there's kids in here, blame their parents and blame YouTube. Do not blame me. I really fucking hate when people come in here and are like, there's kids in here. That's not my problem. That is YouTube's problem for not listening to the questions they ask me. Because I told them, hey, kids are not allowed to be in here. You know, these drawings, you know, made are just, you know, my drawings, but I don't want tiny children to see them or the topics I discuss. But YouTube doesn't listen to me, and there's negligent parents, so you can get mad at them, not me. We're almost done. Cat beastmen don't typically... Most beastmen don't typically wear footwear. That's just, like, I feel like a given. Most beastmen don't really wear footwear. You happy didn't give her trauma? She has plenty of trauma. But she does not die a horrific death. She does get injured and all stuff throughout the series, but she does not die, surprisingly, a horrific death. She manages to live her full life and die of old age. Which is something that a lot of characters in Agony can't say. Zoe would go on to live an extremely, extremely long life. Huge tail, yep. What's her favorite drink? Not really sure. Haven't thought on that. Probably whatever she could get her hands on at the time. She likes milkshakes. Like I said, there is a point, as there is a very big point where she gets really, really fat and turns into your basic house cat. She does lose that weight because Balder, you know, kind of puts his foot down and stops her from eating donuts and stuff like that because she gets really addicted to the sweets and she becomes a very obese house cat. But she does lose that weight. But yeah, she doesn't die or anything like that. I can happily say that she's a character that lives for a very long time before dying. Why does she eat donuts? Because she likes the taste of donuts, even though cats actually in real life can't taste sweets. And then we'll darken the ear patches here because this is how dark her hair should be, but I'm not going to do it that dark because otherwise you won't be able to see with the nice lines. And that's what I feel comfortable doing because I feel like if I continue to shade this, I'm going to smear it at some point. So that's Margaret. You'd be surprised. The male stray cat beastmen are probably built more shoulder here, head like right here. What's her favorite drinks? She probably doesn't really have favorite drinks. She probably just, you know, drinks water in the slums. Basically, okay, think Detroit, and that's what the slums are like. Sorry for any of those who live in Detroit. Detroit fucking sucks. Does she have a family? No, she has no living relatives until she meets Balder and has a kid with him. Zoe is her, like, only actual relative that she gives birth to. Would she drink a donut smoothie? Probably. That is a very likely chance. She looks huggable. She does not like people touching her. She actually really, really hates humans. Does she have a best friend? No. Her best friend is her husband. But Margaret really, really hates humans. Like, to a degree that is, like, scary. She despises humans. Especially the ones that work for Eden. Because Eden is fucking evil. I will do Balder probably later. I have been wanting to draw Balder for a while. Because I have him on digital, but I have not drawn him like this yet. So I've been thinking about doing that. Does she sing? No, she does not. She's a thief. Humans hate Margaret. Humans hate all cat beastmen. Humans hate most other species, actually. Humans in Agony are like some of the like worst people you'll meet. That and elves. Elves are probably worse. And fairies. What's her favorite color? Purple. Her hair right here and her little arm markings here are purple. Who is that? This is Margaret. Not Margaret, Margaret. That's how you actually would say the name. Was she born as a cat? She was born as a very, very small kitten in the slums. She had no idea who her parents were. She kind of just wandered around and eventually stumbled upon a little robot that saved her. She basically, as a kitten, had the body structure of this. As a kitten, mind you. And then she had a little leg, and a little leg, cat tail, and then cat face. This is basically what she looked like as a kitten. And then maybe 20 years later, kind of looked like this. Please stop drawing. Your drawings suck. All right. Is that no see? Yes, it is. Does she like robots? She likes the robot she found. Basically, her, like, big brother is what she sees him as. Love your art. Thank you. She'd be labeled as disabled. She is labeled as execute on site, actually. It's just the way I've drawn. My art style is contracted from a really old friend of mine's. She drew everything like this. And then she drew her males kind of like as twinks. So I got a lot of my art style, especially trying to learn how to draw females from her. So, yeah. The males, though, I used Warhammer 40k as reference. I used to play a lot of Warhammer. Why did I stop? Because I got very bored with Warhammer. You should kill yourself. All right. I'm going to ban that person. That's crazy. That's the first person I've had tell me to kill myself today. That's our new record. We've only had one so far, and we've been streaming for almost 30 minutes. Is she like a crose? What does that mean? I have to leave. All right, see ya. Reported? All right. Pretty sure you're the guy that... I'm just going to ban you. There are literally people that make probably worse stuff than I do on YouTube. For kids specifically, by the way. If you're going to bitch at me for what I do for adult only, you should go look at some of the fucking content forms that people get away with. That's literally actual porn for children. So, don't act like I'm the worst that it gets. I'm going to ban you for being really, really weird and saying that. I'm not the bitch. You can support her back. I mean, I imagine she complains about it a little bit. All you're making is rage bait? How am I making rage bait? Delete your account? All right. Hey, fuck you, Toft. Wait, her hair is dyed? Yeah. So she has purple. She has a lot of purple like right here in her hair. And then there are some markings she was born with that are on her arm that are also purple. You should really kill yourself now. Okay, I'm going to ban that person. That's crazy. I can't believe you would go in... you would go into somebody else's live and say that to somebody. That's kind of really fucked up. Nope, she's only got one kid. Does she get into fights often? Cat fights all the time. You'd be surprised. A lot of cat beastmen do not like each other either. They are very territorial. They will get into cat fights all the fucking time, and a lot of the time it results in one of them getting shanked to death. Yes, they use shanks. What do you expect? They're like gangsters. Really poor gangsters or homeless people. Is she athletic? She can crawl over fences really easily and kind of run up walls a little bit. Does she have friends? No, she's really lonely. Shanked? Yeah. Basically, they take like a shiv, you know, or a bottle and stab each other with it until one of them stops moving. Is this an OC? Yes, exactly. Someone said you should go into a coma. Well, fuck that person. I didn't read it. Why is she so thick? Because I draw her like that. I get you might not like the art, but death threats are insane. Sorry about that, dude. You have cool art. Thanks. Yeah, I've gotten at least 2 death threats so far, which is insane. I'm reporting you to the police? For what reason? I ain't breaking a single fucking rule, so... Fuck the haters? Exactly. Never draw again. Never come into my live again. That's all I have to say back. Yo, what up? What's wrong with you? Wait a minute, weren't you one of the people that said I should go into a coma? You were. Don't fucking tell me what's wrong with me when you said I should go into a coma. That's insane. To me, anatomy should not limit everything. I don't really care. In fact, it just means that there's a lot more blood that spills out, I guess. If she gets into fights. Haters should just go to another video. You 40 or something? I'm 19. That's just how I draw them. If you're wondering where I get my art style, it's from a female friend of mine. It's a cat beastman. 19? Yeah, I'm 19. You have hobbies? I have drawing and I like gaming. I like doing both of those. Whenever I'm not drawing, I like doing gaming streams. You and your whole generation should kill yourselves? That's an insane death threat. I'm going to ban that person. That's insane. How many of you are part of Gen Z, exactly? Somebody just, if you're part of Gen Z, somebody just said that you not only should I do it, but everyone else in my generation should do it. That's insane. You just draw something else because most people's attention spans are cooked? Oh, exactly, dude. I didn't really have any other drawings planned. I meant to end stream a little bit ago because I was eager to play Final Fantasy 3. But I also like talking with you guys since I usually do drawing chats. I like chatting with you guys. I also just like seeing all the insane fucking hate comments as people just waste their time typing away instead of just going on with their lives. What sports my OC's like? There aren't really any sports I take interest in. Didn't your friend die? Yes. Yes, she did. So it's been a long time. I mean, how do you think a kid popped out? That's just the big question. What's her hobby? Thieving. She likes stealing from other people. What do you expect when you grow up in the slums? Stealing is like the only thing you should be good at. Are you gay or no? I'm not gonna answer that question. Subbed. All right, say thank you. Thank you. Is she more human or cat? Well, she's a cat beastman. She's derived from a cat beastman at some point, but not a stray cat beastman. See, these are typically like house cats, basically all the time. That's what these ones have been developed into, basically. It's most likely that the cat beastmen stray from a lion, most likely, or at least some other type of cat beastman. One of the other 2 types. Wait, why are y'all supporting this? Hey, you know what? Fuck you, Katie. That's an insane message to read, by the way. Hey, if you're wondering, party pooper, by the way, this stream is not marked for kids. It's marked for adults only. So if YouTube lets them in, that's not my fault. That's YouTube's monetization being fucking shitty. That's also their parents being really bad at monetizing what they're watching. What's her favorite food? Probably fish. Or anything she could get her hands on. Does she get lots of attention? For murder, yeah. As soon as a person sees her, either they go on with their lives because it's just another fucking stray cat beastman, or let's kill her and get paid. Does she have a mom? At some point, but she doesn't know who her mom is because her mom did not care enough. She probably has siblings that she doesn't know either. It's likely she was from a whole litter. And she probably doesn't know any of them because she stumbled away. She's basically grown up by herself and her lonesome. You should treat yourself now. You know what's funny? As I was reading that, I clicked another comment and somebody said, "Dude, kill yourself now." That's insane. That's so sad. How old is she? 20. At this point in time. Wait, so she was abandoned or something? Basically. Is there a character that's like 13 or 30? Well, a lot of the characters, age as the show goes on. As Agony goes on as a project of mine. A lot of the characters begin to age. So while you can see them as children, you'll see them go into their 40s or 50s or 60s at some point and either die horrifically or maybe get a happy ending. Who's your favorite character and why? I do not have a favorite character. I like all my OCs equally. All the drawings look like they would be amazing housewives/husbands. Thank you. Why do you put their chests like that? Because I like to. That should be a decent enough answer. I'm not really sure what else you... Wait, is she underaged? She's 20! In what world is 20 underaged? Do they age like by cats or humans? Kind of in the middle of both. Beastmen live longer than their typical... Like a wolf, beastman, lives longer than a typical wolf because they've evolved differently. They also stem off the gods at some point. Beastmen literally stem off the gods mating with animals. Or beastmen gods that are literally created to look like beasts that bred with mortals. There's a lot of places beastmen could come from. But typically, she will live to be about averagely 60. However, the soldiers were only meant to live about till their 20s and be shot to death. They were meant to be soldiers. Things got out of hand very quickly. Can you draw her in other clothes? The only other outfit I have for her right now is like this sports getup, but that's only for when she gets really fat. She becomes a fat house cat for a while. She gets back to being skinny, but she becomes like a really big fat house cat for a while because of a lot of stress eating. She gets it all off, don't worry. She doesn't die of it. She does nearly die of it, actually. Do you have a pet? Yes, I have 2 pets. I got a little weasel, who's a dog, apparently. I never knew she was a dog, but she's a weasel. Her name is Sally, and I have a mop named Jack. I will show them on stream if they ever come near my door. She becomes a really fat cat. Yep. At some point. But she does lose that weight, so she doesn't stay a fat cat forever. But there is a portion of her life where she becomes a very obese cat. I have a duckling named Mint. That's cute. That's very cute. I've always wanted to own a duck. Can you do one without her clothes? That's crazy. No. Fan art. You can do fan art. Just send me the link to it and I could view it. I can, you know. I don't mind. Who has to draw him fat? I didn't really pay attention. I just saw the comment. Would she eat a can of baked beans if she got desperate enough? Asking again, from what I'm understanding, she was little and left to her litter. She was a little and she left her litter. Doesn't know her litter mates, siblings, I guess, or her mom. Does she have a memory loss or something? That seems, if it seems rude. No, she probably just simply doesn't remember them or never thought much of them outside of that. We forgot to add her eyebrows. There we go. How fast do you think Margaret is? Considering Margaret is literally engineered to be a fast killer, because that's what these soldiers were engineered to be, was fast, silent killers. She's probably actually really agile, considering she can leap higher than most people and climb over fences like cats can. All right, Sketchbook, I'm gonna ban you. Sketchbooky or whatever. I'm gonna ban you now. Sorry, but dropping the N-word gets you banned. Hey, Blender, do you have a Discord? I do have a Discord. It's linked in my community posts. Please refrain from saying the N-word in my chat. Racism is not welcome here. What's your favorite food? I don't really have a favorite food, but I like chicken a lot. Yeah, someone dropped the M-word. Does she have a neighborhood? She lives in the slums, a really rundown part of the city. Are you making like a novel or something? Agony is planned to be a 3D animated show project. Chicken explodes. Yep. I love that Arby's commercial. All our food keeps blowing up. I have guinea pigs named Mr. Fluffy and refried beans. That is some awesome names. Can you draw her in color? I don't have the colors necessary to make Margaret. A show? Dang, good luck. Yeah, it's been a 15-year-long process of writing. It's my mom's birthday tomorrow. Could you wish her happy early birthday? Well, happy early birthday to your mom. I don't get why people hate you so much. I don't get it either, man. If they didn't care, if they really just, they should just go. I had a snake. His name was Lee, but he died, sadly. That is kind of sad. I've had some pets that have died. You know, animals, though, they're just not built to live as long as we do. Some animals are built to live longer than us. Some animals are not built for that. Her back be breaking. Okay. Can you ban me? Because I want to see what it's like. No. I don't ban you unless you do something wrong. I had a dog named Lilo. That's cute. Is your character like a killer? Or is your character a killer? A lot of people in Agony have to kill to survive. It's just the way of life. Yes, Margaret has killed people before. She did not enjoy it, though. She finds it really unnecessary to slaughter other people. She may not like humans, but she doesn't enjoy killing them or anything like that. Does she talk in English? Yes, she does. She can speak A few languages, actually. It's just something that she's learned. How's your day? It's going fine, actually. We're gonna play some. We're gonna play some Final Fantasy 3 later. I try to fill in every single plot hole I can. Whenever I notice one, I fill it in immediately. Can she say bonjour? Probably. I'm not really sure. I haven't really thought on that. Will we see any of her litter mates? No. It's likely that none of her litter survived, and if they did, they were probably either hunted down or she just never meets them. What up, Nick? But no, she does. It's literally more likely that they all died, actually. What's her hobbies? Being a thief. How long have you been drawing? 15 years. Honestly, peak writing. Thank you. You have a Discord server? I would like to join. Yes, it's linked to my community. If you go to my community posts, scroll down a little bit, and you will find Discord links to the channel Discord. If you want to join the channel Discord and have a chance to play games with me and chat with me and all that stuff and show off your artwork and all that stuff, you can join the channel Discord. You will need to go through a few measures to be able to actually chat because we've had some really bad incidents in the past 3 days. She's got no siblings. Not anymore, probably. Does she have a sister or brother? She had a whole litter of them at some point. You never see that litter on screen, but it is very implied that she just kind of wandered off due to being probably abandoned. There's a kid in here, I think. What's her rubbed out thing beside her? It's really cute. Oh, this is just like what she looked like. This is just kind of the build she has as a little kitten. She looks like a tiny little, like, stress ball. As a kitten. Maybe I'll actually color this. Maybe I'll actually draw this more in, actually. She kind of had a interesting little build as a kitten. In fact, typically most beastmen don't look like this. These guys were literally genetically engineered to look like this as for easy storage. Yes, you heard that right. They were probably left in containers for a while. You should kill yourself? All right. I'm going to ban that person. Seems that most of the haters are gone now. So, that's good at least. I will make the tiny kitten version real quick. See you moving. Why can I just imagine people throwing the mini version like a grenade? That's... They were actually... The reason why they're meant to be shaped like this is for literally easier packaging to transport. These guys were tightly packed in, like, containers to be transported. from where they were being bred to where they'd be trained and desensitized to murder. So, tiny cat. And there we go, little tiny baby Margaret. You'll have to go through it. Okay, so because we've had so many problems in the Discord, my mod will have to eventually mark you as somebody who can talk and all stuff. So it'll be a little bit. Do you have any Fox OCs? No. Well, I hope that birthday party goes well. My fingers smell like metal. Is that a bad thing? Depends. Is Margaret made in China? No. You know a game called Cookie Run Kingdom? No. Never heard of it. It's like a rusty metal, so maybe go wash your hands and all that stuff. Yeah. I ate the Titanic. That's crazy. Do you like cats? I like cats. I don't own any. Have you heard of Annoying Orange? Yes, I existed at some point, you know? I have a dog named Finnegan. I have 2 dogs. I will show them on stream at some point. If they come up to my door. What's that marking on her hand? It's a marking of a Taoist. They're born with them. She is one of the lucky ones that was born with one of them. Typically, Taoists have a marking. Typically. You have pretty art. Thank you. So yeah, we have adult Margaret with a little baby Margaret. I'm not going to shade this one in. Basically, she looks like this, and she grew up into this. Oh, we forgot to add her piercings. She has 2 piercings in her ear. There we go. She has 2 piercings in her ear. I have a question. What's your question? What's your question, Nick? She a black cat? She's actually gray. She's very gray in color. People have been saying, hear me out. Trust me. How long is the stream? About an hour. We're hitting about an hour. Baby Margaret is so cute. Yeah, she basically is like a tiny stress ball. Just think of her like that. I'm going to draw baby Margaret. Go ahead. What color are her trousers and tops? Okay. Her top is like an orange. This arm thing, this like tube arm thing she's wearing is like a brown beige. The markings in her hair are purple. Her eyes are pink, or like a very light cotton candy pink. And then she has like turquoise trousers that get a little darker green as well. Is she gonna explode? No. A baby stress ball, basically. Yeah. What if I squeezed her? She'd probably meow at you. Well, when you live in the slums, you'll take whatever you can get. In fact, she even notes that the shirt she wears is not her size anymore. Do a room tour? No, thank you. So the baby versions are indestructible? Not exactly. But they are very durable, actually. Cat beastmen are extremely durable. By the way, Bunter, am I allowed to use activities? Not anymore. We've had too many incidents of people spamming bots that say the N-word or spam seizure-inducing light gifts and all that stuff. So we've kind of banned those. Sorry. You can pet her baby for her. It's likely, though, she'd be definitely scared of you. She was very skittish as a baby. I have to leave the live now. Bye-bye. All right, see ya, Style. I've never heard of that. Will she bounce like a bouncy ball if I throw her? Probably not, but she will probably meow at it. Is she friendly? I mean, yeah, she's kind of nice. As a baby, she's skittish, and as an adult, she's a bit of a thief. So it's likely if she's nice to you, she's trying to mug you. Eventually, though, she does fall in love with one of my main characters, Balder, and has a kid, who also is kind of a cat. Are the babies just scientist floof? Maybe. Can I use her as a basketball? She will not bounce. I would prefer you do not send links. If you want to know, like, a lot of the rules, you should probably take it out with my mods. My mods are a lot more strict than I am. I like the new OC. I've had this OC for a very long time. In my mind, I just hear boing, 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 boing when looking at baby Margaret. That's insane. She's not a basketball. Well, we'll see about that. We will see about that. Are the cats house cats or strays? Well, they are technically stray cat beastmen. That's what they are. That's the branch that they are. They're basically stray cats. However, Margaret basically becomes a fat house cat later. She literally gets, like, super obese at some point. For a little while. Is baby Margaret just a little puffball, basically? Zoe also kind of looks like that. If you want to see arc, I can tag you in my post. I will probably not get a notification for it. Mova Nova Official. Just send me the link in one of my posts, and I'll click on it, and I'll go and see. If I give her an necklace, will she like it? Maybe. She's so cool. Does Margaret become a mother later on? Yes, she does. To a character named Zoe. Zoe becomes a bit of a pothead. To her mother's disdain. But yeah, send me a link, and I'll click on it, and I'll view your guys' fan art if you make fan art. What will Margaret look as a teenager? Have never drawn her as a teenager. How does she go from puffball to an adult? Growth. And gained articulation. Does Margaret have any superpowers? She is a Taoist. For a while, no. She does not unlock her Taoist abilities for a very long time because she doesn't realize that she has them. She basically is just a gangster. A 2-bit gangster. Ah, yes. Growth. Does she eat a lot? When she lives in the slums, no. But when she starts living with Balder and stuff like that, yes. She starts eating a lot. Remember, I have said, she does get really fat at some point. Yes, this is an OC. When was she born? That time is relatively unknown. She was born not during a very bad time of the technology region. If I were to put my fingers in her mouth, would she bite it? Maybe. Do you draw 1 OC per stream? Yeah, more or less. Unless I do 2 on the same page. But other than that, then I just talk to you. At what point in her life does she murder someone in self-defense? I've seen Hunter draw a femboy, yeah. I have a character like that. Oh, like age? In her 20s. I'm not going to put it in. Probably like 21. What year was she born around? The year and agonies are a little different because they live on a different planet with a different time cycle. So saying a year will not give you a good estimate of how long ago she was born. What food does she eat? Whatever she can get her hands on. But when she actually does have a choice, she prefers donuts. I don't like Hazbin Hotel. How would baby Margaret? Well, she's actually quite crafty even as a baby. How many OCs do you have? Well over 100. I do not like Hazbin Hotel. I will not be drawing anything from Hazbin Hotel. And this is all I'm going to be drawing right now, and I may end stream in a little bit. I've greatly enjoyed your guys' company. All the haters eventually disappeared, which was so nice, because they realized they could not rage bait me. Special message. I've actually thought about making a joke with her and Balder about a cheeseburger. Here, kitty, you can have cheeseburger. Does the durability from when she was young remain now? Not really. Can I ask another question? Go ahead. But basically, the babies are a lot more durable because they're basically packed in. As they grow, their structure begins to change, you know, considering that this does not look like this in any way, a lot of skeletal stuff starts happening. So they're not as durable as they once were. But she is slash and cut resistant, not pokey resistant. If something stabs her, she will probably retain something from it. She's really fluffy. Has she had any broken bones before? Probably. As she grew up. Does she have a cousin? No. Do you like Hell of a Boss? I do not like Hell of a Boss. I'll check out your other streams to draw some of your other OCs as well for fan art. All right. So go ahead for that. We're going to do a gaming stream next. We're going to be doing Final Fantasy 3. Have you ever drawn a femboy, tomboy, gay? I've drawn a few of them. I don't know if the answers are. Do you know what? Do you have a fox to see? No, we do not. There are no fox. There are no fox beastmen. Why'd you draw her breast so big? Because it's my drawing. Would she be able to hug if she looks comforting? I mean, yeah. But she doesn't like humans, so she really doesn't like humans. The other species, maybe not so much, but she doesn't really like humans, especially. She doesn't like other cat beastmen either. I'm not human, I'm an alien. Because it's so inspiring. That's insane. Because, quoted Blunter. Thanks. Do you have any autistic OCs? Probably white. Can you draw other OCs of yours? I can show some of them off before I end stream. Sure. We have Margaret here, but let's show off some others. Uh-oh, don't drop it. Okay. So we have a villain here named Hayes. I made this a while ago, probably like 2 months back. Do you paint? Rarely. But this is Hayes. He's one of our villains. Here's another one of our villains, Blight. Another one. He's lost an arm, but he is a bad guy. Who's your favorite OC? I don't have one. These were some drawing things I was teaching my friend how to draw. So this is Hati right here, which I've drawn plenty of, and this is Angelina. I do have my friend's drawings, attempts of them. They're kind of funny. How do you draw so good? We need a tutorial. I will do a tutorial at some point later. Here is Hati and Luna. As a little joke I did. She looks like a mom. She's a mother of 5. Including White. White is one of her children. What species is Luna? Luna's a wolf. Luna is Hati's daughter. Teach me how to draw fingers, please. I'm trash at it. Hati is also a wolf? Yes. Does she have a special thing? Like, what do you mean? We have David and Emily. White is one of her children. He looks like a rice ball. Yeah, well, eventually Angelina gets corrupted by the Crucible. And so the last 2 kids she has are also touched by the Crucible. So there's that one. Here is a project I'm currently working on. One of our new villains. We have Janet, we did last night. How can you draw so good when you need a tutorial? I will do a tutorial at some point. She's beautiful, yep. And then we have Margaret. So that's all of that in this book. Yeah, that's basically everything in that book. I have some other sketches here, all that stuff. Here's a really old Hati design. I don't draw other people's essays. Here is Luna, Hati's daughter. Here's the full body picture. Here's Hati and a 7-year-old Hati. So there's both Hatis there. You know, you have adult Hati and you have a 7-year-old Hati. Give you a little longer to look at those two. What's in that book? What do you mean? We have Axel, Hati's husband. We have some concepts for Artemis and Apollo, Hati's 2 little children aside from Luna. We have White. Some people like White. Why does Axel have bite marks? Because he fights a lot of creatures. We have another Hati drawing of her dodging a spear while in a prison jumpsuit. And that was it for this sketchbook. So, basically, that's everything. That is everything. I'm still giggling about White looking like a rice bowl. How much sketchbooks do you have? I have plenty. How did some of these people die? If it's a spoiler, don't say. I'm not going to say. Well, it looks like he would eat every day. White's a boy. By the way, I'm just saying, he's a boy. He's not a girl. Even though he looks kind of girly, he is a boy. Put all these in here. Just woke up and it's my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Redacted. Happy birthday. That's basically everything. I look so fucking funny. Thank you. I see somebody asked about this book. This book has a lot of not safe for work stuff in it. What the fuck is this? What do you mean? Yes, you can share your artwork in Discord as long as it's not offensive. Alrighty then. I'm probably going to end stream there. So, I love your gloves. Thanks. I use these to draw in game. That way my hands don't sweat all over the controller or on the paper. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Later, I will be playing Final Fantasy 3. So I really, really hope you guys tune in for that. Because I've been looking forward to playing Final Fantasy 3. So, yeah. Hope y'all will tune in. It's gonna be great. I do gotta charge my phone because the power adapter I use for my SNES, boy, it's not great. I need to get 2 new power adapters or whatever. But I will see you guys later. Bye. All right, see you guys.